So Commissioners Court is in session. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Commissioner Williams, will you please lead us in prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, be with us right now as we do the business of Mills County and decide the best for Mills County in the direction we need to go. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, audience with individuals, anybody? We welcome Sheriff Hammond, of course, and former Judge Ed Smith. Welcome. So no audience with individuals. We'll move to number 3, considering act on approving accounts payable. You should have a copy of the accounts payable. And we need to have each person sign this form, assuming we approve it. And this deals with the Brazos trailer equipment for all 4 precincts.
And then we're not paying them yet, are we? Brazos trailer?
No.
They have sent me, they've actually asked me to wire the money, but I've asked when, and I have got no response.
Yeah, so I said, when is it due? And he says, once the trailer is built and in our yard, then the payment is due before picking up. So during construction, it won't be.
Well, if we approve this, it'll be paid when it's delivered, correct?
Or when we pick it up. Yeah, when we have our hands on it, yes. And they sent a routing number, correct? So it's gonna be going through. We don't have to take a check.
It was brought up in court the other day and discussed, and I think we're ready to read it, give you now.
We just gotta approve it on accounts payables. We
Yeah.
approved it as doing the purchase. Now we gotta do it on accounts payables.
I'll make a motion. We approve the accounts payable as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made by me, a second by Commissioner Wright. All those in favor of approving the accounts payable, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. And I will make a notation for the record. Commissioner Head is on his way. So he will be here in just a couple of minutes. And Commissioner Wright, I'll start this going from right to left. I'll sign this, and if you'll make sure everyone else signs it when they get here. Okay? Moving on, number 4, consider an act on going out for bids for EMS service. And just before we start, regarding this RFP, I feel that this is a proper way to approach our EMS for Mills County. We also have had several public officials agree that RFP is the correct way to go. And with that being said, I want to state for the record, in doing this RFP for ambulance service, this does not reflect anything detrimental to Hamilton EMS. Doing an RFP along with the committee will provide Mills County with just another level of transparency. We've all spent a lot of time working on this RFP. Commissioner Williams has some good questions they want to answer from our last Commissioners Court meeting Monday, and that's why we're here to discuss these questions about the RFP for ambulance service. Now, my plan on proceeding on this RFP, Commissioner Williams has sent an email out with his concerns, and I also have a few corrections from the original that we had in court on Monday. And I want to take all this from the original that was presented on Monday and work with that along with Commissioner Williams' email is sent out.
Yeah, I sent the email out at your request.
Yes, at my request, correct. So what I want to do is go through each page, have any discussion that we need and or make any changes to the RFP. And once all the commissioners' questions are answered and our draft is updated, I want to call for a vote on this matter. So before we start, any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Recap where we are.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Obviously, you got it.
We appreciate your comments. Sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Thinking memory. As I recall, we got a current contract with Hamilton EMS. And that contract provides for a automatic renewal every year unless either party, the county or Hamilton, gives, and I don't remember the days, I think it's 60 days. That may not be right. But anyway, gives some advance notice of intent not to extend. Hamilton has that, county has that. If y'all recall, again, I'm trying to recall too, last year about this time, the sheriff indicated that he was not going to be willing to, or his office was not going to be willing to dispatch Hamilton EMS anymore. And as a result of that, Hamilton EMS gave notice, formal notice, that they were not going to extend the contract. Under the provisions of the contract. We eventually, Sheriff Hammonds withdrew that or whatever, but anyway, he agreed to, the sheriff's office agreed to dispatch for another year. Hamilton EMS withdrew their notice of intent not to extend, so the contract automatically extended. That's where we are again. It's the same contract, has the same provision. Either party has the right to give notice of intent not to extend. If neither party does that, then the contract automatically extends. As far as I know, neither party has done that yet. So we've got that train rolling down the track. This offering for proposals can go on a separate track. We can do this at the same time that we've got the contract with Hamilton EMS. Now, I think Judge told me an email, or maybe told me about some conversation with personnel at Hamilton. I believe that's their opinion too, that we got two tracks going. There's certainly nothing wrong with the county soliciting proposals for a contract. Sorry. I think the county can certainly do that, even though we still have a contract going with Hamilton. Now I gave you some material here. These are some selected provisions under the Texas Local Government Code. On the first page there, this other section you're talking about, soliciting offers with contracts for public bid. And under discretionary exemption, it's discretionary exemption. That means these exemptions are not automatic, but the county can opt for an exemption. It takes a vote and the resolution saying we're going to opt for this exemption. And if you'll notice here, item 2 says an item necessary to preserve or protect the public health and safety of the residents of the county. It doesn't say ambulance service, but it seems to me that ambulance service would certainly fit in the category. Well, why wouldn't somebody tell you that it's not? So it seems to me that the county could actually opt out of the public bidding process if that's what you want to do on the contract or ambulance service of the county. Again, these are discretionary exemptions. There's certainly nothing wrong with going through the formal bidding process. There's also some provisions in here that have to do with what happens when you get the actual bids back in. And it says that you don't have to take the highest one, but you gotta have a good reason not to. I mean, the best bid, the low bid, I guess. Sure. And but you gotta have a good reason not to. And you can base it on various other matters that you consider important. But if you go through the formal bidding process, you have that to deal with, plus you have the notice requirements, publication requirements, whatever, bidding. So having said that, I think where you are today, number one, you gotta decide if you want. And plus, you could negotiate with Hamilton EMS without any formal bidding either, because Hamilton EMS is a governmental entity. And that's exempt off. But, I think where you are today, you've got a couple of options. I think you could have a resolution claiming this exemption under this health and safety provision, which would mean you wouldn't necessarily have to have a public bidding process. You could still do your RFP, but you wouldn't be hamstrung by the strict requirements of the code and what you have to do as far as bidding. So that, I think that would be one option. You can go ahead and you can decide not to claim the exemption and go ahead and do a regular bidding process. But you're going to need to comply with the other bidding process, and I gave you some provisions and documents that I gave you. Again, I mean, that's up to you guys. Those are your, I think those are the choices. But you need to understand, you got two, and plus with the bidding, you don't have to take any of the bids. You can go through the bidding process and say, well, we don't like any of these documents. And you still got the contract over the management, unless like they you'll know that they're not. So you got that contract, but it's actually kind of a contract. So it's my understanding that's what we are. It's yours to deal with. It's
Would it, just question, would it be possible to contact Hamilton EMS and see if they would shorten their cutoff period, extend it further towards September, or is that a state law?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have the EMS to agree with a modification of the contract. Both of them were agreeable. But you got a contract that's in place that's pending right now.
With the automatic renewal, I believe June the 2nd. If nothing's done, automatic renewal of Hamilton County
Right.
EMS.
It's not in the contract all that.
But what Dale's asking is can we ask them to back that up? I think, isn't that what you're asking?
Yeah, to July the 1st. Give us a, yeah.
Yeah, make it another 30 days.
Would be,
Well, of course, I'm saying 60 days, I don't know if it's 60 days, I agree. But the reason there's a notice requirement there is, I mean, neither party wants the other party to give them short notice if they decide not to extend the contract. Because you've got to have some time to figure out what you're going to do if that contract is canceled. So I wouldn't recommend that you shorten the notice period.
No, extended.
Extended.
Yeah,
no,
yeah. I guess.
back it up towards September the 30th. Rather than it being June the 2nd, make it July the 1st, because actually we've just got this stuff last Thursday.
You're talking about making it like 90 days into the season.
No,
I think it would be 90.
I don't know why you want to do that.
No,
If you back it up to July 1st, you have.
no,
A 90-day
you
window.
have to give them notice by June 1st.
June 2nd.
Or June 2nd, and what Dale's asking is, reckon we can talk to them and see, instead of giving them notice by June 2nd, whether we can give them, maybe extend it out and give them notice July 2nd, give us another 30 days.
Yeah, I mean, you're just giving yourself a shorter string, so I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't see how it's giving us a charter.
On the
strength.
backside.
On the backside.
He's saying on the RFP side that you're gonna have to get it done quicker.
But to answer your question, I mean, the county and Hamilton could agree with modification contract, I think that's both parties.
Okay, since we've got you, since you're talking, I ask you a quick question. So when I talked to before we get into RFP, I talked to, the surrounding counties and stuff, and they've all got interlocal agreements with the incorporated cities. We do not. I know we have to, like in the city of Mullen, are we gonna have to do that?
Well,
Or do we have to even do an interlocal agreement?
you just got a general rule that basically says the county doesn't have any jurisdiction inside of a municipality. County can't really do anything inside of a municipality unless the municipality agrees to it. And so it's an interlocal agreement. I mean, the interlocal agreement doesn't actually have to be a 15-page contract.
Oh.
It can just be the city signing off and okay. And that's in effect what we've had, because neither one of the cities have objected to what we're doing. So I guess we've had kind of an interlocal by agreement.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it does take some sort of agreement, whether it's a formal contract or not. It takes some kind of agreement for anything the county passes to be effective in the power.
And the only reason I'm asking this, that if we're going out for RFPs and we get some people from other places that are not local, like Hamilton or Mills County, that was the two ambulance services, they may require some kind of documentation stating that they're doing that in those incorporated.
Yeah.
cities.
I think that wouldn't be a problem. I don't know why the city, either city would want to opt out. I mean, they have to have their own ambulance. Either one.
I just don't think they want to sign an interlocal agreement, though. I talked to City Manager Rob Lindsay about that. You know,
They can either sign this agreement or they.
Yeah.
Resolutions that we agree to.
okay,
I don't think that would be terribly complicated.
okay,
Their city council would have to vote.
sure, okay. Other questions, gentlemen? Well, we can, like I said, go through this RFP and see what changes we want to make, and then, like I said later, take a vote on it, see if we want to do it or not. So, I don't hear any other questions or for County Attorney Hale right now. Well, you got your packet, Robert, from the what we're working on. Okay. What I've done, I've highlighted several things, and I'll ask for comments on each thing that we're talking about doing. The pages aren't numbered, but the first page says invitations to submit proposals. I think everything's fine. Commissioner Williams, I didn't see any comments on that. And I'll flip over to the page 2. And page 2, you'll see overview of system design number A. And originally I had just, which I'd gotten a couple of sentences, and Commissioner Williams had added, which I think is very good, which states, about the incorporated cities, Gulf Lake, Mullen, and y'all can read this. I'll read it out loud real quick. This county has vast rural areas that are difficult to reach within a timely manner. First responders in the county are the rural volunteer fire departments, Mills County Sheriff's Department, four volunteer fire departments, Gulf Lake, Mullen, Pretty, and Stark. The communication center is located in the law enforcement center run by Mills County and Mills County Sheriff's Department, which currently does all the dispatching. No hospitals in Mills County. Mills County in the process of completing a new EMS station. I think that is very, very fine. Good. Does anybody have any comments or questions on that?
Now, this is stuff y'all added.
Yeah, well, this is, did you get the last email? Okay,
I got the last email, but didn't print it out.
okay.
Didn't have-
Here, you can look off mine right here. I've got 2 copies. That's right there. And this was what was added. You can see this underlines what was added, okay? Yes, why don't you give Robert the other copy? Okay. I'm gonna go down B. There's one small change I wanted to put in there. Commissioner Williams had pointed to this. The second sentence, it says to accomplish its responsibilities to the residents of the Mills County Common, the listed entities Exhibit A. I agree when you take that out, and the listed entities Exhibit A, and take out the word the Mills County. So I think the proper sentence should be to accomplish its responsibilities to the residents of Mills County, period. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that sound okay with everybody? Okay, moving on to third page. The top of the page starts, the contractor is responsible for the hiring personnel, equipment, maintenance, in-service training, coverage levels, and shift schedules. I'm not gonna read the whole paragraph. The one change I wanted to make, towards the bottom, the last sentence says, along with other duties and responsibilities providing 911, it says ALS ambulance service. I want to insert MICU, mobile intensive care unit, is a little stronger termination or a definition of this. So I was going to insert MICU where it says ALS, just for that paragraph. And then
So what, I know later in the document, we describe or we explain what ALS is.
yes, and I had taken that out everywhere and put MICU.
Okay, so we need to, so the first time we put it in there, we need to say what MICU
Well, mobile,
is.
mobile intensive care unit.
And then it can go from there. on
Yes,
out.
yes. Some of my discussion, numerous people, they suggested that. Now, I think everybody agrees with that. Then you see, number one, provide the necessary number of full-time, fully equipped ambulance vehicles. Commissioner Williams had a good point. What kind, age, quality, and mileage of vehicles, which is very important. It's not there. And Commissioner Williams, let me know what you think of this. I talked to numerous different folks and they said ambulances need to be under 250,000 miles and under 5 years old. That way you don't get someone coming here with a 10-year-old vehicle with 500,000 miles is going to break down.
Yeah, it's just so vague that I was scared that
Yeah,
they'd come in here with Ghostbusters type ambulance.
well, I agree. I agree. And of course, and again, some of this stuff I think can still be used once whoever this RFP is awarded to or not, then some of this stuff can be contractual information we'll work on once the contract's being performed. And another thing Commissioner Williams had, number 2, says provide for 911 and emergency dispatch. And the comment from Commissioner Williams, how does this work if they want the county to do it? I agree that's an issue, and I think that should be taken out on number 2, Commissioner Williams. Just take that whole sentence out.
And after what for dispatch?
Well, what are you gonna do for, are you gonna pull out the dispatching?
Well, saying provide for 911, this is in regards to the ambulance service. I don't know if they'd want to do that. I mean, they're still going to be doing the dispatching service, hopefully through the sheriff's department. Now, and again, that's why we're discussing this.
I think that's where our problem's coming in.
Okay. Well, how would y'all like to phrase that?
I don't know. This RFP, if we're gonna talk about dispatching, it says, if we go further down, it's saying that they're in charge of getting dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
The ambulance service is.
Yes.
And so. And my comment on that section was, how is that gonna work? I don't even know what page it is, but it's got the word CAD in it. I don't know what CAD stands for. And it says
Computer aided
dispatch.
Sheriff Hammond's comments on this?
I think you could put it in there on line C. Provide for 911 and non-emergency dispatch. Well, they couldn't provide 911 dispatch because Mills County can piece of that.
Yes.
So the way I see it is with the
So if we take that out, how are they gonna do? I mean, it just seems to be prescribed dispatch.
Yeah, scratch 911 now, all. They can't, that's not part of it. Anybody's on there, Hamilton and whoever.
Yeah.
That's not part of their, county owns the piece.
That's right.
But I would put in there, provide for or negotiate dispatch services between Mills County.
Okay. Provide for or negotiate dispatching services.
That's what I'm worried on.
Okay,
Mr. Hill has a different wording for.
But won't that have to be done with their bid process? So that's gonna be part of what they say they'll come in for, right?
Do I think?
Won't they have to do that during their bid process completely?
What do you mean?
Figure out what they're gonna do for dispatching,
Yeah, everything will.
but it could, would that be across the board, straight figures for whoever?
Well, just that term, limit opens it up for everybody. Negotiate with the dispatching services here, or some corporations have their own dispatching service. So basically, you got you open window.
But that can make a huge difference in their bid. From one
That's why
company
you
to
got
the
two
other.
options.
Do what?
That's why you have two options.
Two separate bids.
It's not, we're not gonna know that until we put the bid in.
I don't think you're gonna be comparing apples to apples.
Well, it's just a request for, you're not building the contract. You can't compare apples to apples and do the different basket for that.
Well, I've never done this before on RFPs. And this seems awful hard for me to do. I stayed up several nights just answering these questions.
Mr. Hale gave y'all that, like the exception, and then you can still, you're not tied to the major obligations. If you set the exemption, and then it's gonna make it a little more open and formal, was fine.
Right, but you still have to do, but what we'd still have to do the RFP. We just don't have to follow the. If we take the exemption, we don't have to follow the timelines and all that other stuff, the postings and all that. We're just going out for an RFP. On your exemption,
Well, if you opt to do the exemption, then this process is completely exempt from the bidding process.
Yeah.
You do it however you want.
you could have you want to.
You actually negotiate, you know?
I think it would open up more to get. Doing, I agree, RFP, maybe the backside. Yeah, and I guess if you're gonna put this out for bid, I think the RFP is something good, that you don't know what you're getting, if you don't put it in writing.
And so you have to, when you put it in writing, you gotta put everything in writing that what you want
Right.
for them to give a correct bid.
Well, what I'm saying, if you're not offer the exemption.
Yeah.
You don't have to,
Right,
you're just doing it because it's a good way to do it, right? Because you don't know, if you get a bid, you don't know what you're getting. If you didn't have it in your, know what the bid is.
My question is, if you go that direction, you don't choose a certain human service, what's the likelihood that they can legally say you didn't look in the second line? If you put it under a formal document.
Then I don't think. You have any possibility. Mr. Hale, if you claim the exemption and you follow this, but you don't really have to advertise it or anything, right?
yeah, you don't have to do that 3 weeks in the newspaper and all that other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, you're correct. But on this number 2 here, for sure, there, 911 doesn't need to be mentioned
Yes.
in that because there's only one 911 system and they're not in charge of that system. Mills County is in charge of that system.
okay,
So
we discussed earlier the wording.
just provide dispatch is what I think.
Okay, provide dispatch.
Yeah, I mean, we're 911, one thing, dispatch.
Yeah.
Another, right, correct. I mean, I think that's what we want this. Everybody has a piece of, you don't get the other one, you're central and public safety and. That has nothing to do with the private.
Okay,
Those are all. Oh, sure. Building. Tonight. Yes. Correct. All of them. Correct. It's just, once that, and I'm asking, I'm not telling. But once it comes in and it's a medical emergency, that's, if you're not going to dispatch for ambulance, you hand that off to somebody else. Correct. Is that right? You answer the call, we answer it off, yeah.
Okay,
Either forward that call to a different center or go from everyone.
okay,
So the just so I understand, the 911 answering is still, would still be with the sheriff's office.
sure.
It's the dispatching after that initial 911 call. This goes somewhere else.
Yes. And what I'm hearing, number two, just make it provide dispatch.
Yeah. If
So-
they can't.
Yeah.
What will they do?
Yeah.
For us, and if they can.
Sure.
If you know,
Okay,
say, with them.
okay.
Do they want a supplier over there to sit there and answer the phone on the radio, or how does it work?
Okay. Is that sufficient for number two, gentlemen? Number, what, 6? Commissioner Williams have maintained superior working relationship with first responders. And, Mr. Williams or Commissioner Williams says, does this work both ways?
If we're gonna require one, we have to require everybody. Am I wrong on this?
Say that again.
If we're gonna require one people that they have to get along with everybody, which you know that ain't gonna happen. Nobody can get along with everybody. I can't even get along with my own daughter sometimes in the house. But you can't say they have to get along.
Well, and again, I want to stress, this is just the RFP, you know, there's words in there too that are somewhat generic. I think you asked about something about, wherever it was, we'll get to it later, about being, what is reasonable, you know,
Yeah.
should be acceptable, reasonable. And I look at this as being just a term. They need to work with everybody. True, they may not.
You got minor infractions, you got reasonable time.
Yeah, and
That's
again,
in there, and I don't know, I mean, what is the definition of reasonable?
well, that's correct. What
What
is it?
is the definition of minor infraction? A minor infraction to Dale may not be a minor infraction to me.
But again, being RFP, do we list everything that possibly happened in a minor deal? I mean, there may be 20 or 30 or 40 things.
I don't know, like I said, this is the first time I've done an RFP, all
Mine too.
the other stuff that we've done. When we didn't know what's going on, we got a professional to come in and help us. Brown County, when I reached out to Commissioner Kelton, he said they hired a consultant to write theirs. A lawyer helped write the one, they didn't do an RFP and then passes, but helped write the contract. And so, and San Saba didn't do an RFP, reached out to Brown County. They didn't do a consultant this last time, but they just modified their last one that the consultant did. So I don't know. We hired a professional to do the wind turbines. We hired a professional to do the IT. We hired a professional to do all this other, I mean, I don't know. Either I'm gonna have to spend more time on this or
Okay.
it's gonna have to be.
I have a question for you, Jason.
Go ahead.
San Seven Land Pass said it didn't have RFP, so they just contact Hamilton or
Yeah,
they
they probably used this exemption or they went through
Well-
it's a county entity.
We're about to get to it later. I'll go ahead and answer that question now. I contacted both judges. Judge Harder in Lampasas County, they were running out of time and didn't have time because whoever they had was apparently leaving, so they went with Hamilton EMS. Since Saba County, I talked to Judge Foley. He stated that whoever the carrier was, they're having some issues, and it came down to the health and emergency of the county. And he said that's why they didn't do it, because Hamilton County is available and the other company was not taking care of business and didn't have ambulance service.
That's exemption number 2.
Yeah,
That's another example.
yeah, so that's why they went ahead and went with Hamilton County without doing an
They're not
RFP.
there yet, they get there.
That's right. So we're discussing number 5. I mean, gentlemen, we can go through this and then vote whatever you want to, change some terminology and do something else. We'll see. I think we need to go ahead and finish this project we started and just change this up some, and then we'll take a vote. up or down and see what happens. I mean, is that a good way to proceed or?
we can. Does anybody else have any questions?
Different meetings, the plan that exemption? No, I think you can do it. I mean, it's on the agenda that. We're discussing it today.
Yeah, the agenda says that consider an act on going out for bids for EMS service.
Yeah, I think you got the authority to do it today if you plan to do that.
Okay. Well, how about we leave just that in there, maintain superior working relationship with first responders? Is that okay? And move forward? Okay,
We don't have to change any of my.
well, I mean, we're just discussing this. The next page, schedule of events. One thing I will recommend change, if it's approved today in court, issue RFP has April 10th, 2023. That needs to be April 13th, 2023. Minor change there. And down a little farther, under overview, number 2, overview, it says there are 2 key areas in which minimum qualifications must be established. Previous experience in managing emergency services. Commissioner Williams asked, how much experience? Well, I don't know that you want to put a technical amount of 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I feel like whoever bids on this can provide us with their previous experience. And that way we'll decide who's best. Again, that's one of those kind of generic terms. Previous experience in managing emergency services. Any comments? And the one below that has the county, which I think is a good sentence. The county will determine the proposer is qualified or not qualified to enter a contract for the procedure set forth in this RFP. That was added by Commissioner Williams. I think that's a good sentence.
And added by me.
It was not added? Okay,
I was in red.
okay. I got a different deal I'm working on.
Yeah, that was on the original where we prepared this other one.
Okay. I've had several copies working through. So anyway, do you see any changes you want to make on that? Number 1. Well, hearing none, I'll go on to the next page, which is page number 5. Methods of qualifications. Commissioner Williams comment, I don't know if I want to read the whole paragraph. Should any group of entities submit a proposal as a joint venture, or should any proposer intend to utilize a subcontractor to fulfill the specified aspects of its obligations? And Commissioner Williams comment, do you think we say just 2 qualifications? Exclamation point. My comments are anyone submitting bids should include their experience and expertise in the field. If some company submits, again, a bid with no previous experience, we wouldn't accept that bid.
Well, you've only got experience and then you got financial, but we're not going to take into account their inventory or what they're bringing to us, their how they manage their equipment. What about their contractual response time? That's what all the other RFPs that I looked at have got that number 3 in there. And so then you're going back, well, I only said we'd only do 2 of them. Now, if we add what I'm asking, do we put, I mean, we'd have to change that instead of 2 things, it'd be 3 things or 4 things.
What else would you like to add, Commissioner Williams?
I just don't know if, I mean, I'd like to know more about their company than just looking at their financial numbers and their years of experience.
Okay. Okay. Would asking for references for places they're located in be sufficient?
And
Now you work there, the number 1, in all of this experience.
well, this is under, so this is saying this is how they're qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then you start off, it says, prospectors shall provide one of the following, and then you have A, but there's no B. Is that supposed to be B on the next paragraph?
I don't know.
And is that
Probably
or?
so.
What's the or mean? I mean, is that supposed to be the, because it says 1 or 2, I'm trying to figure out 1 or 2 and what? So when you prepared this, I mean, were you thinking that that second one should be a B, or
It probably should be B in there, which was not put in there.
is it probably?
Proposer shall also provide information, and documentation of existing management and supervisory strength.
Well, that says the proposer shall also, so that doesn't make, that's not an option. Because you're up here at 1, you're saying the proposer shall provide 1. Now we're saying they gotta do both.
How would you like to word that?
I don't know. I don't know what, I mean. I don't know what you're trying to say in this section, is what I'm trying to say. I don't have a, I'm lost what you want me to do here.
One thing I was gonna add, that under A, instead of 911 ALS ambulance service, again, put in MICU, mobile intensive care unit, and take out for the number of years. But we can put that back in there. Or leave as is.
We gotta somehow fix the grammar on this, because that don't make sense. We're leaving them, we gotta be giving them, we're making them give a choice. And if I was the one if I was one turning in a bid for this, I'd be calling me saying, what do you mean by this? Where's my choice here? It says I have to do 1 of 2, but it only gives me 1 option. Unless that or is supposed to be the second option.
County Attorney Hale, any comments on this part?
What are we talking about?
Methods of qualifications. B, then underneath it, there's a 1A. Some confusion there, and also the top up there.
You talking about the previous experience in financial health? Is that what you're talking about?
First paragraph, right, Commissioner Williams?
It's under qualification.
Then
I would think or would be your B,
yeah,
but
So what's wrong with that?
It's saying that it says the proposal shall provide 1 of the following. And then it gives an A in parentheses, but it doesn't give a B for a second choice unless that or in the middle of the page is supposed to be the B.
Yeah, well, I will say that.
Or is it the next paragraph supposed to be the B?
No, I think it's all, I think it's the B. there.
okay, okay,
The second paragraph says, proposer shall also provide, I think that's in addition to that.
okay.
I think the or.
Oh,
I would recommend change the or to B,
Got it.
okay?
Well, I think the or, stay there.
Just needs to need the or.
Yeah, and B, yeah, yeah, B in front of the or, got it. Okay,
we'll just split that paragraph up, separate.
Yeah.
Separate that sentence from the first paragraph.
okay. All right. Okay. Moving on to the page 6, the top of the page is demonstration of financial depth and stability. Midway down, meeting contractual response time and other performance requirements in compliance with all the applicable laws and regulations. I think all that's good. Commissioner Williams, did you add that part? I don't have the other one. Is that added 3 and 4? Or was that already good? You had no bullets?
I added those. I
Okay.
added 3 and 4.
I think that's all good. I think that's, I mean, I'm all for that. Commissioners, with all y'all. Number 3 and then number 4 says provide evidence of inventory and the provision of maintenance.
But if we're gonna do that, we have to go up to B qualifications because you say only 2 key areas. Go back a page,
Okay,
and I just added 3 and 4, and you're wanting to add 3 and 4. But you only up here, you said there's only 2 key areas.
But we'll add, there'll be several areas. How about that? Regarding the experience in each, several areas. How about that instead of 2 key areas?
Or you leave it 2 key areas with. I don't know.
I think we can say several areas and covers. Instead of 2, I agree, take the 2 out and just put several. You see that, Commissioner Porton? Several, take out, where it says, 2 key areas, put several areas. Okay? Now, is that good, Commissioner Williams, you think?
I mean, yeah, if we're gonna make that change. then
Okay.
go all the way down.
Well, I like those number 3 and 4 you put in there. So turn another page. At the top of the page is historic service volumes, which would be page 7. I know these aren't numbered. And then number 4 says proposal provisions. And Commissioner Williams has the last paragraph. I'll read the paragraph. The contractor will provide at least one 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week ambulance located and stationed in the city of Gulf Lake, Texas. The contractor is responsible for providing backup services to these areas while the primary ambulance is on other responses. And Commissioner Williams, you had just one exclamation.
Well, I just wanted the court to know that we're only asking for 1 ambulance.
Well, yeah, I think that's what we had in the previous contract. And I mean, we don't want to ask for 2.
And then providing, and then the next one is the contractor is responsible for providing backup services to these areas. My question was, does that include air and ground, or
So
is it just supposed to be there? It's supposed to be assumed that they're supposed to be both of them.
Sheriff Hammond's can clarify this. My interpretation and what I got, aircraft is not considered a first responder since aircraft are restricted under certain flying conditions, weather conditions, mechanical conditions.
It doesn't say first responder. It says provides backup.
Services to the area or the primary. I would say backup services is inclusive of everything that paramedics provide. Whether it be they get on the phone call helicopter or they send another truck. So I think services is fine and it covers everything.
Okay. State that again. How would you like that to say then?
Well, so provide backup services to these areas. Provide all backup, maybe.
Okay. He's talking about
The
putting all,
contractor is responsible for providing all backup. Maybe if we put all backup in there.
All. I think the sentence is fine.
Just, okay. And then, does this court want just 1 ambulance? The
Well, I think if
number
you-
1 complaint we have by the citizens is the response times on the second call out.
we could request 2, we could request 3, but each one we request at minimum is going to raise a value of $200,000 or so. And having 2 calls per day, I think 1 is sufficient. That's my thought.
30% of that 800 last year, 30% of the 800 calls were second call outs.
Okay.
And so of those second call outs, it means that your mutual aid is 30% of your time.
Well, I know it's not foolproof, but you've got one in, say, an independent company, where is the backup coming from?
Good question. We don't know that. We don't know who's going to bid on this, and that's a good question. As you know, right now with Hamilton, we got Hamilton County, Mills County, Sincaba County, Lampasas, and Llano County. And that is an important deal we'll look at if we get this RFP passed. And that's everybody's understanding. Of course, you know, if an ambulance leaves here, then the Sincaba people bring one up to the roadside park there on Highway 16, correct?
Bridge.
The bridge, yeah, the bridge.
And one old feller said he didn't like that, and I told him, I said, you're living rurally, but I think you're better off with it at the River Bridge than you are contacting Brownwood.
Sure.
Or somewhere off
Sure.
in response time, so.
Okay.
And so that just really rolls us into that next page where it's talking about response times and.
Yes.
And then it says a reasonable amount of time. I
Well,
don't like that word reasonable in there at
before,
all.
before we get to the next page, what do we want to do in this last sentence?
Well, it said we're leaving it. That's what I.
That's what now?
got from there, but we're just gonna leave it as it is.
Okay, yeah, okay, okay. So we're turning the page again. Response times is the first one. So response times are a combination of dispatch operations and field operations. Commissioner Williams, what is the definition of reasonable?
Well,
Which is
we
2A.
have it in our contract now, they have a certain amount of time and we're not putting that on this one. So we're just gonna let the RFP people just give us what their times are. Is that, and so, but what we're saying on here is each life threatening emergency request within a reasonable amount of time. I mean, that's a medical director's question to me. What is a reasonable amount of time?
I mean, it could also say acceptable amount of time. I mean, I don't know that we can put just a figure there. Sheriff Hammonds, what do you think on that? I mean,
I don't know why we couldn't. I mean,
well, you can put under 30 minutes.
well, I mean, you know,
I mean, it's got, well, here it's got 10 minutes scheduled pickup time, then 24 hours, that's pickup times and unscheduled non-emergency requests. I thought we put in the response times the city of Gulfport and the countywide.
yeah, you got 1959 for out of town.
Yeah.
859 for in town. I mean,
Well, let's put that in.
I mean, put 20, I mean, I don't know about the 59, but I mean, put 20 minutes and 9 minutes or 10 minutes for local and 20 minutes for out or whatever. I mean, it's.
Well, also-
I think it needs, I think they need to know exactly what we're expecting of them to do. How to perform.
I agree, but and regarding zones, I know Brown County's RFP had zones. I don't know if that'd be a good idea to do zones in Mills County. Here's a prime example of Pecan Ball Bridge. You know, if they're going out that way and the bridge was shut down for a week, that's going to definitely hurt your response time out to the west end of the county if they have to go.
It's 26 miles to Highway 45 and they usually have at least some kind of wreck out there 2 or 3 times a year
Mhm.
on Highway 45. There is no way that they can make it in 10 minutes.
For
There's
sure,
no
I
way
agree.
they Make it 19,
I agree.
even if the bridge is open.
I
But
agree.
that's why y'all have the 90% of the time, give them a little bit of.
Uh-huh.
I
Window.
agree on that, but I'm just saying, if you did a zone, then you could say, if you did a zone type thing, like Brown County and Ferris County and different other counties that done their RFPs, then you're saying that we know it's 26 miles out there. We expect you to make it in 28 minutes. Or whatever, I don't know. But that's, I mean.
Well, there's always those exceptions. So if you have a zone, and again, if the bridge is shut down, it's going to take them longer to get somewhere.
I don't know, I mean, I don't know what the rules for emergency coordinator downstairs, she might know some more. I don't know, I mean, if our medical director might know some more, because I don't know this stuff, I have no clue. But we're wanting them to tell us.
Instead of putting time frame, it's impossible to put a time frame in it. Just put it there, each last regular emergency.
Well, the word is reasonable, so my thing is, what's reasonable? If legally, county attorney is. If somebody puts something reasonable, what does that mean?
Everybody has a reasonable kind of element. Everyone. has-
Really?
So, does Hamilton EMS give us a report on what their average?
Yes, yes,
Can't we use that?
I think that's a good idea.
Take their average response time.
Mhm.
There you go. That's a good idea.
All right.
So we'll have to look that up
We'll put average response time
for the year
for the year
in town and out.
with Hamilton EMS. Okay. Okay. That takes care of that page. Moving on to page number 9, where the first sentence on the second page is achievement of specified response time standards. I think Commissioner Williams, you liked everything, but the last paragraph where it says the contractor will put sufficient safeguards to ensure that dispatch personnel have the initial and ongoing training, map knowledge, and geographic understanding of the coverage area of Mills County. What was, you stated, are we saying that the job of the EMS provider now to train the dispatch? If so, we need to list these standards. Well, I think it's best just take that out. I mean, I don't think we need that.
And I was just going off what Gerald said Monday in court. If we're gonna say there's a standard, then we have to list the standards. And that was over, over different, that wasn't over EMS, that was over, what we're saying for, for a contract, to put in entrances. So that's where I was going with that, but the way this reads is it says to ensure dispatch personality have the initial and ongoing training. That means the contractor is required to make sure the dispatcher, not the county. I mean, I'm sure Clint would say, yeah, you have, you follow the responsibilities of making sure. But when I put this in, that's when we had 911 in here. And now we've taken 911 out.
Well, my
But
thoughts
you
are,
still have a district.
So they're gonna say, we need to say that, they can probably change all that to say your dispatcher.
well, I'm leaning towards taking that whole paragraph out or something like that. I mean, again, I know the sufficient safeguards, I know what you're talking about, but again, this is still the RFP, but I think a lot of this stuff will go through on a contract, whoever we choose, if that time arises. Sheriff Hammond says, am I wrong on some of that assumption or?
That's negotiation.
Yeah,
I mean, it's part of the negotiation.
Mhm.
What I really addressed and I highlighted is the exemption of the penalty forward. And still being able to utilize the.
well, I think we can solve it, maybe just take that paragraph out, that's where it says the contract will put into place sufficient safeguards to ensure the dispatch personnel have ongoing training and knowledge. And well, I mean, I don't know, I don't see any problem with it being in there. And I understand what you're saying, Commissioner Williams.
I don't care. These are just, I mean,
Okay, well, let's just leave it in there. That was the very last paragraph that was added. The contract will put in place sufficient safeguards to ensure that dispatch personnel have the initial and ongoing training, map knowledge, and geographic understanding of the coverage area in Mills County. I mean, that's a good requirement. Now they need to know the county, et cetera, correct? You'd like to know where they're going.
But, maybe, so.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Well, some of these companies, I've heard of one that their dispatch service was out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Sure.
So they're sure not gonna know where.
well, the one in Brownwood is out of Florida, but they've now moved to Dallas, so, and that's caused lots of problems.
Well, let's leave this in here. Why don't you, that you added, Commissioner Williams? And let's move to the next page. Number 10, personnel. First sentence in the proposal, the proposer shall show the methods and resources necessary to comply with these standards in the section. And further down, it says again, advanced life support, ALS level. I was going to insert, I think we need to mobile intensive care unit, MICU level, which I think everybody agree on that. Commissioner Williams, you added on after that, what level of training do we want to say is our minimum per ambulance? Licensed paramedic, bilingual, driver training. I don't think any of that's in our current contract right now.
No, I'm just, that is me just putting in there, that's all the ones that I know of that are listed, that are out there. I'm sure there's more,
Yeah,
but I'm not saying add all of those. There's no way you can have all of those.
Well, sure.
But I'm just saying that we ought to have some kind of minimum in there.
well, again, I think whoever bids on this will have here's what we do, here's what we offer. You know, there's what, type 1, 2, 3, and 4 level, correct? Clint, on EMS ambulance service levels, top 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 being the best designation.
Judge, I have to go, so.
Okay,
You know,
I'm gonna make my comment. I don't think we're
Well,
ready.
you go ahead and make a comment, Commissioner Williams, and,
I don't think we're ready to do this.
okay,
So I think there's too many questions. We can't vote on this today unless we get it rewritten and so what we're gonna.
Okay, now, but you gotta get off 5 cents. I mean, we either gotta do it or not.
Well, I understand that, but I've got to go. I
We
have
had
to
a
bring this.
meeting today because we needed to get it done. So, do something.
we can go ahead and call for a vote right now. If that would help you to get on the road, Commissioner Williams, I mean, I don't do any
The
more.
judge told me we have all next week to get this done and we're still under the time limit. That's what he told me in his office 2 days ago. We
And I
still
just
have
stated-
next week to do it.
And I just stated earlier, I'd like to get the same done today, go ahead and get the vote done. I understand, I mean, I'm not knocking the traffic, I mean, kids are top priority, I mean, I agree, you need to go to traffic. I don't want to keep working on this, well, it's gonna put us off another week on doing this. We can make it happen. But we're getting short on the time frame to have 3 postings in the Gulfway evening. And again, this is an RFP, we're not doing a contract. Again, I think we're getting too technical on some of this stuff.
I don't know. I don't think it's good enough technical enough, but that's my opinion. If you want to call for a vote,
Well,
I'm willing to vote. But I'm-
okay,
Just to tell you, I don't think with the information that we've come up with today that changed my mind.
okay. Well, even if we get more, it may not change mine, like you said, so. I'll make a motion then. We'll go ahead and make a motion. And there still may be some wording we may do in this contract. We like about 2 pages ago. There still be maybe some wordings we're gonna change whatnot. But I'll make a motion to approve the corrected RFP with a few minor changes towards the end. So there is my motion.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Was that 3-2?
I don't know. I can't see
I-
that.
I vote yes. Robert did vote.
I'm voting against it. It's,
Well, let's do this again, do it right. So we're calling for a vote again to accept the RFP. We had with a few minor changes. We made some changes already. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the RFP with a few more minor changes. And that is my motion to approve the RFP that's been presented to the court.
I'll second.
Okay, I made the motion. Commissioner Wright made the second. So all those in favor accepting the RFP as is with a few changes towards the end, say aye. Please raise your right hand. Aye. So that's 2. Okay. Those opposed? 3. So the motion fails.
I make a motion that we have another commissioners court meeting on Monday, to work on this, to finish and work it all out, finish out all the details, knowing that we have next week to finish this.
Okay,
For the timeline.
okay. So the motion failed 3-2. So now Commissioner Williams has a motion to renew this work effort. Commissioners Court meeting Monday at what time? 9 a.m.
Or you can continue today. I mean, we're
No,
not
no.
done.
I don't see any
No,
point in
continue
continuing this. The motion, well, the motions, why would we continue? The motions failed. So.
You can have another motion.
Well, I think it's best, let's just, we'll review this Monday. It's failed. So I think we need to set for Commissioners Court. And you're talking about are you talking about doing a workshop or just what?
No, just like this, just the same thing. If we were gonna vote on it, we can't do a workshop.
Okay. Well, the motion's been made by Commissioner Williams to continue this on Monday. Do I hear a second? Here.
Dies.
Here no second, the motion fails. Okay, any other business we need to discuss, Commissioners Court?
motion with adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn. Motion second.
Robert, motion.
Yes.